In growth forecast for the Philippines, at least for 2022, comes at a time when the health department is reporting lower cases in the past few days. In fact, hitting its lowest yesterday at over 9,000. But still, what prompted you to cut your projections here?
Yeah, it really is good news that the number of cases is finally coming down. We've been waiting a long time for this. There's a couple of things. One is that the number of deaths of COVID is still high. It hasn't really begun coming down, which means that there still has to be a concern about the ability of the public health system to manage the COVID pandemic, even if the number of cases is coming down. And so it does raise the possibility that there will still be some quarantines, at least limited quarantine measures going forward for the pandemic. The other reason is that the Philippines hasn't really participated as much in the boom in exports in the goods producing side of the economy that much of the rest of Southeast Asia has. Philippines has just sort of recovered the volume of exports that it had prior to the pandemic. But nearly every other country in Southeast Asia is well ahead of the Philippines in terms of participating in the global supply chain, in the global demand for goods, for durable goods around the world.
Okay, at least that provides a better picture as to how much we lag the rest of the region. But if we can just zoom out a bit even further, by how much really do we fare compared to our neighbors here in Southeast Asia? How is our situation worse off? I mean, other than the export situation.
So, first of all, the Philippines is already kind of behind the rest of the region in that the level of GDP, the production of total goods and services in the country, is still only about 90% of what it was prior to the pandemic. If you look at other countries in the region, Malaysia, Singapore, they're close to back up to 100% of where they were. Other countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, they're at or above where they were prior to the pandemic. So it's kind of, starting from behind the game, the ballpark's a little far, the goalpost is a little farther out for the Philippines now than it is for other countries. One of the difficulties that the Philippines will face too going forward is that it, along with Thailand, is one of the most dependent, or at least has been in the past, the most dependent on international travel, tourism, hospitality industries, and so forth. And that will be one of the last pieces of COVID recovery to come back into place. That all the countries of the region and the globe really have to figure out how to manage international travel and all the testing and quarantining and such that may be involved in getting people from one country to another. And finally, a big part of that travel and tourism business comes from China. And China is not allowing a lot of travel in and out of its own country. And that may not pick up until maybe after the Winter Olympics in the second half of February. So a lot of friction there in terms of that side, in terms of the service side of the economy related to travel and tourism.